2022. My name is Kelvin Mungai.
And as later on, Kelvin will be joined by guests to discuss on the current affairs of what's happening around the country. And later, I'll be talking about women and entrepreneurship in that segment of Let's Talk with Wairimu. So stay tuned. It's the Morning Dew Show, and thank you so much for choosing Dissect TV as your channel of choice.
I will be going through the Daily Nation, and Wairimu has the Standard. The headlines on this page, there are quite a few stories making headlines today. It is a very busy headline page. But the main one is Uhuru set to endorse Raila at party NDC. Game on. He has blown hot and cold on whether he is going to play an active role in the politics of his succession. But now the president is folding his shirt sleeves and getting ready for the dance. Yesterday, he told those opposed to Raila's Azimio to prepare for a titanic battle. This is a story that continues on page 4 to 5. There is quite a lot to say about this headline, because the speech given by President Uhuru Kenyatta yesterday as he rolled out the universal health coverage is something that resonated in both positive and negative ways with a lot of Kenyans. And we saw on social media some reactions, such as the one from Honorable Oscar Sudi in response to that speech. It did take quite a lot of people off.
Sure. The Standard newspaper also has the same headline, and it states that Uhuru hits at Ruto, Jubilee. Uhuru hits at Ruto, Jubilee backs Raila. So the story is big as it continues on page 6, 7, and 8 of the Standard newspaper. And I feel that this did not augur so well with Ruto allies, as they also gave feedback to that. And actually, the Standard calls it a tornado. And I told you we're in interesting political times. Now we have a tornado, we had an earthquake, we have tsunami, and more and more of such will be coming. And Mudavadi hit back at this. On page 7, Mudavadi told Uhuru rather, to keep off succession. So Kenya Kwanza leaders feels that the president is imposing Raila on the people, and the leaders promised to construct a dry port at Busia and Malaba borders. They were talking this in Busia County yesterday. I think that was come back after what Uhuru said, and I feel like he was addressing Ruto in a rather harsh way, in my opinion, or it was like, come back and now let's fight, and just as you said it. And I don't know, kuna watu wanasema it will end in tears, but let's wait and see.
Let us wait and see. Well, still on the politics of the president and his deputy, there's a story on page 16 of the Daily Nation. Kenyatta's tour of the mountain is a make or break affair. This is one thing that we'll be looking at later on Hotspot segment, because we have some leaders from the Mount Kenya region coming in, and we want to know how the president's decision to, whether he can in fact influence the Mount Kenyan vote in favor of either candidate.
Well, I don't know about that, but my opinion is that imposing a leader on Mount Kenya, historically, it has failed terribly. So I don't know whether he will challenge history, but we can only wait and see whether Mount Kenya voters will be driven into that angle. But I know historically, any sitting president trying to impose a leader, it has failed terribly.
Yeah, but there's always a first time for everything. I'm not saying that this could be the first time. I'm just saying that the president may have what it takes to actually influence that vote to swing either way. And then again, he may not. Only time will tell.
Yeah. A story still on politics. It's the IBC second drive of voter registration, and it only managed to get a swing of 1 million extra voters. IBC was targeting to get around 4.5 million, but they only managed 1 million. Yesterday I said maybe it's because this time round there was no much of civic education. It was a bit laid down, despite IBC being given so much money to do this. I feel that they did not have that drive to do the civic education like in the previous years. Also, the leaders who want these seats, I don't know why they did not have like that kind of drive we see in them. Yes.
Yes, and while still on the story of financial allocations in the mini budget, fear of job cuts as Kenya Airways starts restructuring. New 27 billion shilling bailout comes with unwanted consequences for hundreds of staff at the national carrier. That's page a story that continues on page 10, and on page 6, Jubilee won't let us live, cries UDA.
It's like a cry. But why wouldn't they let them leave?
Well, thank you very much for asking that question, because let's get into that story. It seems to be the second most interesting story in the headlines today. The first, of course, being the speech by President Uhuru Kenyatta yesterday. Some people say, some who have resigned have found their membership reinstated. These are members of UDA who have to resign from Jubilee and officially register as UDA members. But they say that some of them who have resigned have found their membership reinstated into Jubilee again. And then they continues to say, Ms. Korir and Mr. Kosgei said that most of those who have resigned from Jubilee find it difficult to register as UDA members, with results on eCitizen not coming through to confirm their new political party. Kenyan politics.
Like there is a card somewhere. There's a game somewhere being played, maybe. And with the new bill, that could happen. It could bind leaders to not moving away from their party politics, because I don't know. I don't understand why they should do that. Or they could be not wanting to leave for obvious reasons. We know they could be saying that now that Uhuru has spoken, he seemed to be gaining ground. So let's play a bit in there, and we'll move as we see what side is a bit stronger than the other.
Kind of like having a foot on either side of the game.
Yeah, so that's it, and sorry for that. And I have there's another story here on party nominations, and we have Wiper Party votes to give consensus first chance before voting in primaries. This is a story about party nominations, and it's a story ongoing with, I think, each and every political party. And Secretary General Shakila Abdallah said aspirants for various seats would be encouraged to adopt reconciliation and only go for competitive primaries where they fail to agree. Ms. Abdallah said that the move would prevent fallouts and chaos during nominations to ensure erstwhile rivals unite after the exercise. Maybe that is what is happening in Jubilee. Yes.
Yeah, it's possible. And on February 25th, the ruling Jubilee Party will hold its NDC at KICC and endorse Mr. Odinga's candidature. ODM will also hold its NDC on the same day. Now, we are on page 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation, and this is the story about President Kenyatta's speech yesterday, in which he attacked his deputy, Dr. William Ruto, and the MPs allied to him. And one of the most interesting bits of his speech was when he said, I'm not sure if I can find that.
He says, let me read it for you from the Standard newspaper. I won't tire to campaign for Jubilee and tell them to vote Jubilee as we partner to work with the likes of Joho. Hii ni marathon na mimi sina project ya mtu, lakini nitaangalia kura yangu. But at one point Uhuru said wanasema niko na kura moja. Wacha waendelee kusema. But I'll still support the person I feel is the best for the country.
Yes,
according to him.
That ultimately is the choice, is why we vote, because it falls upon our shoulders, the responsibility of selecting the leaders who will guide our country into the next level, either economically or development-wise, with the leader that we think is best suited to fit those shoes and handle that responsibility, then is the one that we give our vote to.
Sure.
And I found the quote I was looking for. In sentiments largely construed to refer to his deputy and MP supporting his candidature, President Kenyatta said government services are offered in offices and not at political rallies.
Sure.
Kind of harsh, don't you think?
True. But that rivalry between Ruto and Uhuru, I don't feel like it is good for the country. I feel like if not taken well care of, it could lead the country to drift far wider apart than it is right now. So if there is a way they could resolve in-house without showing us their dirty linen, the better for the country. Because they're speaking about Azimio la Umoja, and these other parties talking about Kenya Kwanza. However, their actions and words, they tell a very different story. Sure.
So there is that side of the conflict, of looking at the conflict, but there are other people who are looking at it in a different way, being that the president is actually playing a reverse psychology game on Kenyans, where he seems to be at loggerheads with his deputy, but in real sense he is actually trying to favor him.
It could work either way. That's why I told you, like the case of Mount Kenya. You see, I don't want to seem like I'm a bit too political or I'm taking sides, but it is word out there, or social media has it, that if Uhuru tries to impose Raila on Mount Kenya, then votes switch to Ruto. Because they are like, you're the leader who did help us, so why should we help you?
Yeah.
So we don't know. We clearly don't know.
Again,
about that.
Kenyan politics are really, really unpredictable, and it is a game that will intend to keep you updated on all the way through the August 9th elections.
Switching away from politics is a story of pain and joy of adopting a child, and that story is on the page 17 of the Standard newspaper. It is the joy of every mother to hold a child or to be called mother, and that is how a desperate woman was deceived in the move to be called a mother. In Friday, January 28 was the day her life turned around after the director of Mogra Children's Home in Muthaiga gave her a 6-year-old girl after a successful journey of adoption. So this lady, apparently she was 54 at 54 years. She was a Sunday school teacher and had not given birth to her own child. So she sought help from a clinic that was hoping to give her a child, and they told her that she has to pay upfront of 160,000 Kenya shillings. However, things turned away here after she was told that the child she was given was stolen, and that is what landed her into the wrong side with the courts, or with the Kenyan law. And yeah, so she says, my appeal to the government is to give us lawyers to handle adoption cases to reduce the timeline women are spending in courts to get adoption certificates. So in Kenya, if you adopt a child without the clear the clearance with the adoption certificate, and someone comes and claims that you have their child, then that will be handled as a stolen case of a baby.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow, quite severe. What page is that story on?
Page 17, and the process of adoption in Kenya is outlined there. They say you do inquiry, there is the interview, you file the forms, there is the home visit, and the adoption eligibility is up there. Please grab a copy of the Standard newspaper and get to know about that.
And on page 12 is an opinion on a story that has been making headlines the past few weeks, and that is the attacks in Baringo County. And now the residents say that this is not livestock raiding as it used to be. They kill people to instill fear and force them out of an area so that they can settle in the abandoned areas. It is apparently an expansion of territory. That is what is happening. It is not cattle rustling as it used to be.
Sure.
They are now looking to expand their territory, and the best way the way they are doing this, it is not the best way, because there is no justification for the taking of a life. So the way that these people are doing this is instilling fear through killing other people. So the families that have been moving out of the areas that have this conflict, and then the bandits and their people move in and settle.
I want us to rush to the cartoon on the Standard newspaper. And here we have a lady, a very beautiful African woman carrying a chondo or a handbag. And there is a gentleman standing by the door, and he says, "We lost all the keys, but we are still looking for them." And the door is written IEBC election data servers. Yes, there is still something ongoing with the IEBC, as they were told to give us the data, or to open the servers for us to see what transpired during the last elections. That has never happened though, and I don't think the bill that was passed will ever allow for IEBC to open servers. So they are still looking for the keys, to open the servers, and yes, they are still looking for them. That's what they are saying. We are still looking for them. We lost them. I hope they find them, so that we know for sure.
Maybe they will, but I don't think it will happen anytime soon. Well, still on the cartoon, on page 16 of the Daily Nation, there is I don't know how to describe this.
That's a man or a woman?
Or is it a box?
It's a man with a big box belly.
Well, it's
with a belly box.
Is it called an amorphous figure, where it's two items merged into one? There's a human being, and then there is a box, and the box is green, and it's titled Elections Act, and it says, "I am craving amendments." And then there are four leaders in the corner there. There is Honorable William Ruto, there is Honorable Raila Odinga, and then there is I think is Kipchumba Murkomen. Though I'm not sure. That face is kind of hard to determine. And they're standing right beside this box.
See how they're scared their faces are? They're looking at that Elections Act like a monster. Hey, we don't want anything about you.
Politics. It is interesting in every single way.
Sure.
Oh, here's a story that will interest you and your guest later on DN2. Spot the opportunity. Businesswoman capitalized on tenders announced by AGPO to grow her business, which has created long-term employment for 14 Kenyans and another 25 on contract and casual basis.
Wow, that's the conversation I'll be having later on Let's Talk with Wairimu. It's about women in entrepreneurship. And I have a beautiful lady coming on set. And we hope to learn. I hope Kenyans will learn, or at least one person will learn from her story, and also embrace entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Yeah.
From what I know about it, it is a path that is filled with so many challenges, but it has rewards in equal measure.
Sure. I want us to check on the sports segment. And Senegal fans before AFCON final against Egypt on Sunday night, Senegal won this year Cup of Nations title. I don't know much about sports. I could just read that as it is. And it states that cheers and tears mark AFCON final. So we are almost there at the final of AFCON. I really don't know much about sports, clearly. I can only read. But it states, this is Edouard Mendy, who is the Senegal goalkeeper, says, "We are proud we never won before. We worked really hard to win this trophy, and today we won as a group and as a country." So that is Senegal celebrating their win at the AFCON finals. Not the finals, was it there?
Yeah, I think it was the finals.
It was the finals,
I think you and I are just as terrible at sports. But luckily, we do have some people in our team, the news team that we'll be introducing a little later on in the month. And, well, they are better at analyzing sports than we are.
Sure.
The hardest part for me when it comes to reading and talking about sports is pronouncing the names of all those who are involved.
Sure.
Because they are not as easy as Kenothia or Omondi. They are always complicated.
Maybe it's a rule to the game. You need a complex name for you to be in sports.
Maybe. I don't know.
Precisely football.
In football especially. Well, there's a story about the Ajua search for HIV vaccine yields new hope. This, of course, is something that is a disease that has been plaguing the entire world for a long, long time. And there has been no vaccine so far. But apparently, there is a new hope. The HIV trials have not failed. Rather, we have learned a lot from previous trials that have greatly informed us on improving the vaccines and bringing us closer to an efficacious HIV vaccine. That is a quote by Dr. Marian Moreithi, and that is a story on page 4 of the DN2 segment in the Daily Nation.
A rather sad story on the page 16 of the Standard newspaper. We have COVID-19 pandemic. 13,000 girls got pregnant in Narok in 2021. That is quite a huge number. And being underage girls, I really feel for them. I really feel bad for those people, or the men who take advantage of such young girls. It's really some pain there, and I hope that law can be changed with how we define, because sometimes you find that it goes to court and they say the girl consented, or then the family agrees to have some conversation with these men, and they agree that it's okay, you can give us a few cows, a few coins, so that we do not take this case to court. I really feel bad, and it's such a sad story. It's on the page 16 of the Standard newspaper.
Yes, it is indeed sad, and my question is, where is the law? Because the law is very, very clear about what should happen to those who defile underage children. So why is the law very quiet in these circumstances?
It is not so quiet. Some things, however, parents were advised to spend quality time with their teenage daughters and guide them to become responsible adults. So I think this is a collective responsibility between parents and the young girls, because I feel that if you talk into your parents the right way, they will open up to you and tell you that this happened, because some of these young girls are so fearful to tell their parents, and the reason why they are fearful, it is because the people who did these acts could be relatives or people they know, or people who are trusted by the family. So, and then the threat of if you say I'm going to kill you, so it ends up in silence. And again, because of societal kind of thing, the family feels like it's their responsibility to also shut up. Like, we do not want to get ashamed. So you'll even see them taking their children elsewhere, like to their aunties, to their grannies, so that they can hide them. So the vice keeps going on. So I think it's collective responsibility by government, by lawmakers, and by the parents.
And the society at large.
And there is hope, because if you check on a quick one, a story on page 12 of the Standard newspaper, you will find that there was a man who was jailed 20 years for defiling and killing a nursery school girl.
Well,
so
yes.
There is hope.
Yeah, there is hope. And that brings us to the end of our review of the dailies. I will be coming back shortly with my team, and we will be discussing current affairs. We'll especially be looking into